Hey there everybody, how's it going? Nightshade here with another replay from IvD Gaming's Apocalypse, and I hope you guys enjoyed this particular one. Of course, down in the bottom right hand corner here on Whirlwind is Apocalypse. Of course, using the quantic tag at the particular time, this is a bit of a dated replay. It's out of actually a ladder match from back in, I think it was May of 2013, but it is one of Apocalypse's replay packs that he threw our way to get casted and throw on up. So hopefully it'll be a good one. Of course, there hasn't been much game change rather between May and now. Some minor variations, if I recall correctly, but I can't. I know that there was a patch between here then and now. But I don't recall anything that save for the Widowmine buff, or rather, Widowmine nerf, tank buff. Those are the real only major differences between then and now. So, but Apocalypse, if memory serves me correctly, certainly likes his bio play. So we'll see where this is going. Now, Whirlwind, of course, is now currently out of the ladder. Out of ladder. It's out of the current ladder match in the map pool. But it is a darn good map, and over on the left-hand side of the map is his opponent. Certainly been with Evil Geniuses for quite some time. A main staple for that team, of course, previously with Team Liquid. Ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left-hand corner, as our blue Protoss, it is going to be Huk. Now, Huk doing the usual, throwing down the whole pylon and then grabbing himself a gateway. Gas right behind it. Yep, you can pretty much expect that. Double gas, in fact. And away he goes. He is going to scout cross map, which is a little bit odd. Of course, it takes a little bit longer to get on over. And then once you find out that your opponent is not actually there, which is what the case is going to be in this particular one, he's going to show on up and go, oh, well, this is a bit of a problem. He's not here. Now he's got to check out the other two locations. He's going to narrow it down. In some ways, this is pretty good because he's going to scout all the way over here, as we can see the little dot up in the green right-hand side of the screen. But Apocalypse is like, screw it. I am going to... Is that a CC first? That was a CC first, ladies and gentlemen. CC into double barracks, which is not a bad idea on Whirlwind. If you could pull this off, you're going to be ahead tons in economy, and this is certainly doable. And, of course, that is my cell phone ringing, and we'll catch that a little bit later on. But, yes, if you're wondering, my ringtone is, in fact, the Terran theme from Brood War. So yeah, double racks is going to go down here. Apocalypse looking pretty good. He's not grabbed either of his gases just quite yet. I'm wondering if he's deciding to throw down another barracks anytime soon. Nope, he's gonna go for actually spending his minerals on getting the orbital commands up, and then we should expect to see some gases out of him fairly quickly. Of course, he's going to throw down bunkers up front. On the other side of the coin, Huk is going to sit here, and he's going to grab himself, of course, like they said, the two gases. What units does he have on the map? He has a Zealot over here. A probe working its way around, trying to squeak maybe a pylon or two on out, I'm sure, in some sneaky little location. Of course, the Stalker is out on the map as well. Mothership Core was not a big thing back in May. It's kind of one of those things where people have really started integrating as like a first unit in the build. And in fact, Huk is actually opting to go for probes and get his economy up, but he is getting a Stargate. And Oracle's not as quick back then as they are now, but still a pretty good unit. And what we do, of course, have is a forward pylon and a little bit of aggression here. The Zealot Stalker is going to work their way up the ramp. They're going to see what's going on and see the bunker and move right on out. By showing on up and going up this way, yeah, they're probably going to be able to circumvent this bunker. But they're going to have no shields once they pass, because that bunker is just going to get so many free shots off on them. And then they'll just unload the bunker, and then the Marines will just kill them off anyway. So, but he's going to sit at the bottom of the ramp, try to keep an eye peeled on Apocalypse, as Apocalypse is going to get ultimately a scout on over here on the left-hand side of things. He's going to see this Nexus with his SCV. Of course, he's trying to take the long way around and head on up and see if he can maybe get a good scout of the main of Huk, and indeed he's going to get a really good one. Mothership Core is finally out. I love, indeed, would make a little bit more sense because he wants to get this fast Oracle out, so by doing so, it's going to be good. Of course, grabbing a couple of probes, killing off that SCV very quickly, and the Mothership Core does ultimately get a kill. And what we do see, of course, is this Oracle working its way across the map. And as you can see, even without the speed buff that they did get a little while ago, they're still pretty quick, and this is going to get caught here by the Marines. And I think that SCV did catch that starport. No, it did not. So I don't know, interesting premonition that he would have Marines waiting for this Oracle showing on up. I think it's just a good call, or maybe he already had them there. I didn't see, but we do, of course, have these units out front trying to keep an eye, quick pick as to what's going on. Now, 2 Oracles is going to be a little hard, and they do take care of a couple of SCVs, try to take care of the turret. The turret does ultimately finish, and getting a lot of shots off, and too bad, so sad. Huk is going to have to flee, but does get a good couple of SCV kills, and did not lose an Oracle in doing so. So, he's pretty happy about that, I'm sure. He's going to warp in additional units here. Apocalypse is going to have his hands very full very soon. And of course, this Stargate can crank out additional units besides Oracles. And Void Ray is not a bad unit, especially against bunker busting, but we do have a couple of additional gates going down. The Natural is finally up and running for Huk, and a little bit later. But if we do take a look at the economy tab, 34 to 32 in the favor of Apocalypse. But Apocalypse having those meals is giving them an extra 300 to 400 minerals per minute additional economy. So Apocalypse looking pretty good at that. We do see additional unit producing structures going down as well, as a third CC is already finished, and helping to saturate up these rows of minerals that are just aching to be harvested as quickly as humanly possible. And you can see he's got a lot of Marines up in his Natural. He's worried about these Oracles flying on in. And this is a great play by Huk by having those Oracles, even so much as on the map, is going to be great. And engagement here by Huk as he's pushing on up. There's really nothing here to help out. And Force Fields is going to cordon off these bunkers. And this entire Natural is going to get abandoned. And this is the right choice against a strong Protoss player like Huk. Apocalypse knows he's going to have a hard time dealing with it, so he's going to have to use that ramp and those SCVs to try and buffer against these Zealots, as you can of course see exactly what's going on underneath this orbital command. And you can see all the Zealots now having died is now just Marines versus sentries, and they're going to back on up here as Huk is now in a very commanding position. He's now in 2 base economy, whereas Apocalypse has lost a lot of SCVs. We do see 24 to 0 SCVs killed before Apocalypse. So Apocalypse in a rough shape. They still got 27 workers going to town, as you can see over here. Mules as well going down as well, and it's 3 I think it's 3 CC mules. Does he have... Where'd that third CC go? Oh, there it is. It's floating on the way over the other side. But it's just 3 racks cranking out units, and of course the starport is just waiting on this reactor to come on out. There is a Widow Mine at the top of the ramp here, and if you can get a good shot off, this will actually do a lot of damage, soften up these stalkers and sentries. But Huk is a pretty smart guy. He's not going to try and engage in this ramp situation. He knows that it's just a big choke that he's going to have a very hard time breaking. And Apocalypse can sit there and hold this for quite some time. And Huk knows that he's going to need a lot to do some damage. He needs some area effects, these storms or Colossus, whatever the case may be. But now that he has sufficient units, he's going to push down that ramp, take his Natural, and look like he's in great form indeed. The third is going to go down over on the far right-hand side of the map. This was not spotted by the pylon because he took the long way around. He took this path routing. I'm sure he knew that it was the pylon up here and in his third, but Huk looking so strong right now, as he's got 48 workers as opposed to Apocalypse's 30. So Apocalypse has himself a lot of work ahead of him. A lot of sentries here. We do, of course, see the robotics facility going down. Double upgrades getting cranked as well. And also we do see this robotics bay is going to go down. So it is going to be a Colossus play out of Huk for the short term. He'll need to be on 3 bases before he switches over to Templar. And we do have Marines Marauders working their way down on to the map itself, actually just heading on out, trying to see if they can find pylons, take care of some units that they might be able to squeak. And there's nothing just quite yet, as we do see the Widow Mine leading the way. They're slightly quicker than Marines, so I guess in some ways it's good that they're always up front, because you don't want your Marines rolling over top of one of these when they do blow. But there's a lot of sentries here, and if he's careful, Apocalypse may get a slice in half. Alright, so a couple of units do get cut off in here and are not going to be able to escape. Zealots are going to go to town on the front lines here, as well as an Immortal. That is going to be enough. Widowmine does get a good burrow here and a shot off, softening up a lot of the Zealots here, as you can see. But unfortunately the Stalkers as well as the Immortals are quite healthy, and there's additional Colossus on the way. We do have big freaking laser beams being researched here. That is the extended thermal lances, but it's not quite there. Neither is the Colossus. And this force by Apocalypse with the Medivacs is pretty potent as well. He's trying to snipe as what he can without incurring too many losses here. It's like a dance between both of these players, as Huk wants to engage as well, but only if it's favorable for him to do so. He's kind of waiting for Apocalypse to overcommit and try to engage this Nexus, where he can kind of get a quick surround here with his units, but he's not able to do so, as Apocalypse wisely is staying back, but has affected the gas economy by taking care of that that assimilator on the Vespene Geyser. So Apocalypse looking pretty strong. Again, going to push on forward now that all of his forces have been healed with a big stem, and as well taking care of all of the Zealots. Going to kill them off, and now he's going to start engaging. Additional Zealots have been warped in, but Apocalypse is going to say, screw it, I'm out of here, backing out of there as quickly as humanly possible. And as you can see, actually using the afterburners on these medevacs to try to get them into the move position as quickly as he can, because, well, medevacs do not heal while they're moving, believe it or not. So you want to get them stopped as quickly as you can so they can actually do their healing work. And just as a tip, Afterburner gets them to their destination quicker, so then that way they can actually heal what's below them. And he's going to retreat all the way back on up. If we do see, he does have himself in a fairly good position. His third base is up and running. It's not optimally saturated, but of course a couple mules is helping things along. Of course we are hyper-saturated here in the natural, and up and in the main as well is a little bit more normal. But again, hyper-saturated as well, right to the max. 17 out of 18 workers, 21 out of 21 workers in the natural, but supply block currently as well. That's never a good thing. Is there bunkers being built anywhere? I don't see anywhere. There we go. I think he's recognized that. He's going to catch it. Not a big deal, though. He's got a good force up front, and it's not like he's under any pressure right now. In fact, actually quite the opposite. He's going to be giving a little bit of pressure, and if he loses a couple units, well, he'll be unsupply blocked very quickly. Double drop action out of him. Like I said, he does certainly like his double drops and his bio plays. And, yeah, he's going to engage these stalkers. They're going to die awfully quickly. Widowmines are also going to get burrowed here as well. Hellbats up front and personal. They do not have the blue flame upgrade just quite yet. But, yeah, Apocalypse is basically being left unmolested here, just allowed to do whatever he wants. Again, over on this third base as well, there's some Marines and Marauders going to get mopped up here by Huk, but the damage has been done. We're just going to take a quick at the units lost tab. You can see that, yeah, Apocalypse is losing this, but more importantly, he's keeping Huk on really two bases effectively, and now finally Huk has expanded on out. We can see this large train of workers heading on over. Just going to take a quick peek and see how many. There's about 16 in total, just shy of that, 14 I guess. There's a pylon over here, but does Huk have vision of this third? Not even for a second. Of course, he is going to head on over and see that a couple of units here are going to have to fly on out. There is an engagement on over here, but it was mopped up. And I think that's the Widowmine actually just getting a shot off onto Huk's stalkers. And yeah, a little bit of a running around in a circle. There's going to be a drop-off of Hellbats. Hellbats, by the way, pretty good unit against Zealots. They do get a bonus against light with the blue frame upgrade. Right now they do not have that, but still, even then, they just do tons of damage. And you can see, actually, Apocalypse, like he doesn't need the hard structures here for defense. He's going to back on out of there and move his way on out onto the map. He's going to take that center position, which is pretty good because it does give you vision right up to these bushes. And we'll see him in just a second with that vision. As you can see, just up to the bushes itself. If you don't have anything in the bushes, you won't see anything in there. But that does give him pretty good situational awareness of what's going on in the map, as this Bioforce is just getting bigger and bigger. And a couple things I really want to point out. First and foremost, he's identified that there's going to be Colossuses on the map, so he has Vikings to help support that. He has Hellbats up front to help deal with a lot of problems with Zealots, and Zealots tanking a lot of damage. They're just going to die that much faster. And as you can see, Huk is not even bothering with Zealots. He's going straight to Stalker. Of course, he is going to gauge into the natural here. A lot of forces have been warped in behind to try and defend the third base, but they're just slightly out of position here. But they are going to get a good pinch here, as Stalkers on the one side are going to stop units from going up the ramp. Apocalypse is kind of sandwiched in the middle here, as he's trying to kill off as much as he can. If he can hold this and keep his forces alive, he'll be in a great position. But Huk looking like he's going to actually take care of it. And no, the Colossuses have been killed. The Vikings are going to land. Huk in a lot of trouble here, as Apocalypse is just basically going to town. Photon Overcharge has been initiated and is getting a lot of damage done, but the Nexus ultimately falls in a big GG, and Apocalypse is victorious. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out at IvDgaming.com for more info and replays, of course, and also links and news on IvD Gaming and Apocalypse. My name is Nightshade. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.